Hi again, everybody. It is time. We are back. We are doing another sample selection to try and whittle down the ever-growing list of Kindle samples that I have acquired because I am like a mockingbird. I just see a shiny Kindle title and I snap it up. And do I always read it? No, but that's what the purpose of this video series playlist is for. So let's take a look at what the big old list gave me today. The list gave me this one. Shigidi and the Brass Head of Obalufon. All right, first impressions, vibes, if you will. I like the sort of the detail on the cover. We've got these towers and smoke rising from them. We've got what looks like a clawed hand here. Something that looks for all the world over here like Big Ben, lightning bolts. So it's a neat, very detailed cover. I like it. It really would. If I were in a bookstore. Okay, for you young people, there used to be these buildings where they had books on paper and they would sell them. They were great. Loved them. Anyway, if I were in a bookstore and I saw this title, this book, I would probably stop and wonder what that is because it's a very good cover. I did do a little bit of research on Obalufon, if I'm pronouncing it right. I don't know. Wikipedia said there were two Obalufons. They were leaders of the Ife Empire in Yoruba history. This tells me, of course, that this is African. This is an Afrocentric story to some degree. Fantastic, love it. The title, here's the weird first impression of the title. It feels like an Indiana Jones adventure. Shigidi, and I feel like that Wole Talabi could write a whole series of books of Shigidi and something, right? And this is the first of them, Shigidi and the Brass Head of Obalufon. It really gives that sense of an adventure vibe. Harkening back, maybe to Indiana Jones. That may have been a very intentional choice. We shall see. So what I'm thinking is we got a historical, maybe archaeological adventure leading us to Africa and somehow tying into some African myths and legends and perhaps hunting for our MacGuffin is the brass head of Obalufon. So we shall see. We'll find out, all right? Come back in a few minutes. I'll read the sample and I'll let you know what I think. Alrighty, well, this one starts with a bang. We start with Shigidi, who is lying half dead in the back of a car, and a woman named Nakoma, who is trying to tell him, if you've seen Reservoir Dogs, right? Hang in there, you're going to be okay, don't worry, don't die on me, that sort of thing. You never gave up on anything in your life, you're not giving up now. But it's a big car chase, is how this book begins. Big action set piece. Driving along, having a great time, and it's not just any car chase, it's a ghostly car chase. There's ghost cars coming up behind them, and they gotta evade them somehow. So that's pretty cool. A nice action-packed opening. Then it hops back to 3 days earlier, where our couple, Shigidi and Naoma, are on the beach. Turns out Naoma is a succubus. Shigidi is a former, and I think that's important, former god of nightmares. So already our main characters are spirits. They are gods who are apparently driving cars, hanging out on the beach, and nearly getting killed. Okay. That's always fun. They seem to be freelance spirit entities. There's a reference made to spirit companies. And we see this a little bit through the sample, is that it sounds like the spirit world is very, very organized in terms of people get hired, people get paid. Is there nothing capitalism will not stick its thumb into, was my first thought. But it sounds like, even in the spirit world for gods and deities and spirits of wind and water and nature, there is still a job to be done, and there's still money to be made, and there's still ranks to be achieved and things like that. And I kind of disappointed? We'll see what he does. Again, I love a good cosmology. I love a creative cosmology. And if this creative cosmology is detailed in this way, I'll go with it. I got no problems with it. But I'd hope that the gods would be allowed to rest. But who knows? They get to meet a guy named Obalufon, who is an elder god, hires them to do a job where they have to find the brass head. See, I was right. They got to find it. It's the MacGuffin. And Obalufon is interesting because he is a big player in the spirit world. He talks about religions like Christianity and Islam, kind of like competing businesses. He talks about seizing market share in the belief economy, I suppose. And this is now framed as kind of a one last job adventure, right? Shigidi is given this gig, one last job, and you're free to go do whatever you want. So, okay, so playing on some very familiar tropes. And then we jump back to 1977. for reasons, which is where we learn a little bit more about Naoma, who is the succubus character, Shigidi's beloved, I suppose. And apparently she doesn't really love him, but we find out that Naoma's been doing her jobs, Shigidi does his jobs. There are some interesting little bits of I don't know what language. I'm going to guess, given that Obalufon comes from this, hold on, let me look up again, Yoruba history. Ooh, short-term memory, folks. Comes from Yoruba history. I'm guessing there's some Yoruba words that get sprinkled in here, which is nice. It's all good. We learned that gods can get hung over. Lots of interesting little details. The two main characters sound good. It is a very unbalanced relationship. Shigidi is clearly in love with Naoma. Naoma is not in love with him, or at least says she is not in love with him. Will they, won't they? They got one last job to do. They got to find this brass head, and then presumably they are free from whatever obligations bind them. Great. Okay, so that's all I know. So what I'm expecting, especially based on that rollicking car chase adventure at the beginning, what I'm hoping is that it kind of continues in this vein, that we do have action and adventure. If it is patterned in a sense off of Indiana Jones, then we are going to see danger and chases and escapes and near misses and probably puzzles and deception and lies. And given the cosmology that Wole has created, that there's going to be some sort of infighting between different kind of departments, if you will, of the spirit world. Talabi has come up with clearly something very, very highly organized. And as we all know, if you've ever dealt with the bureaucracy, there's always parts of the bureaucracy that don't agree with each other and are going to try to stop something. So I expect that this book will probably be a lot of fun, a lot of adventure. I don't know what kind of grand themes it's going to be touching on, if it's one of those books or not, if it's going to have any real commentary on religion other than religion as an economic force, which is fascinating. And I do kind of enjoy that idea. It kind of harkens back to, for me, Terry Pratchett's Small Gods, in that gods are empowered by their believers. And so it benefits the god to have a lot of believers. And so if you want to talk market share, then yeah, that's kind of what's going on. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. For now, do I want to buy this? Do I want to read it? Sure. I know I've said that for all my samples so far. Maybe I just pick good samples. But it looks like a fun book. I think it would be a fun read. If you've read it, if you like it, let me know what you think. Put that in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, I think that's it for right now. So thank you for sticking around, and I will see you next time.